What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is my review and breakdown for the Chucky TV series Season 1 Episode 4. I've hugely enjoyed this season so far. It's been so much fun. The kills have been brilliant. Chucky has been hilarious but also menacing at times, especially in this episode as well. And there hasn't been any episodes that were just filler. Every episode has added to the story. It's been interesting, it's been engaging, and I've enjoyed every single one of these episodes. And we haven't seen the original cast back, likes of Tiffany, the likes of Andy, Kyle, these characters that will pop up in this season that haven't yet. But I think Devon, I think Jake, Lexi, Junior, these characters, these new characters, are holding their own. They're doing a pretty good job. So, yeah, fair play to them. And it's very interesting so far this season. And the directing style, the colour, everything has just been top notch from this series. And I'm surprised at how consistent it has been in its storyline and how consistent it is at keeping us as an audience engaged. So at the end of last week's episode, Chucky was in Lexi's house. He burnt it down and he was about to kill Lexi, and then it cut to black. So now this episode is mostly based in the hospital. We have Jake going around to the certain rooms. He sees Devon. Devon's okay. Junior's okay. But Oliver was killed last week by Chucky, stabbed to death, and his parents find out about that and they're pretty devastated, of course. And Lexi approaches Jake about Chucky. Jake admits to Lexi that he knows about Chucky, and actually he sent Chucky to go kill Lexi. Lexi is pissed off at that. She asks her parents, is Caroline going to be okay, because her sister is probably the worst off from this party. She's unconscious, she must have inhaled a lot of smoke, and she's all these machines attached to her, and Lexi's parents are not impressed with her whatsoever. Then we have a confrontation with Junior's parents, Bree and Logan, with Lexi's parents. Of course, they don't like each other already because of the parent-teacher meeting where it was revealed that Lexi was mocking Logan's dead brother at the party, the Halloween party. And then also, the Detective Evans, is in the background watching all of this, and she even gets involved, and Lexi's mother's like, none of you knew where your kids were, and I'm the bad parent, because they all went to the party behind their backs, and then this murder happened, and the fire happened, and, nobody seems to be too impressed. And even Lexi's mother says about Devon's mother, her kids, the one with that podcast, talking about the murder podcast. There's a big confrontation between these people, and then you have Logan punching Lexi's dad in the face. So that was a pretty fun scene. I did like that. Then you have Detective Evans, who is, of course, Devon's mother, asking about the party. Did you see Jake Wheeler there? Because she's very suspicious of him. Did you see Chucky there? And then Devon's like, I seen Chucky, but Jake wasn't there at all. And then this woman right here popped up a few times in this episode. A ball kind of hit Jake's foot, and maybe it was Chucky at the start, you would think, but no, it was this woman, and maybe her kid knocked the ball. And she popped up a few times. Then you had Devon warning Jake about his mother, saying she's asking about you, just be careful. And these two characters seem to like each other, but then Devon was recording their conversations a few episodes ago, so does Devon really like Jake likes him? But this woman, she had a baby, and there's the ball, but the kid is wearing good guy clothes. It's very similar to the clothes that Chucky wears. So who is this mysterious woman? It looks a bit too old to be Glenda. Maybe it is Glenda, I'm not too sure. But she popped up a few times and the camera did stay on her. So she must be important, or her kid must be important. Then we got some flashbacks of Charles Lee Ray as a teenager working in an orphanage, or maybe he's a part of this orphanage because he was never picked up by a family, because he's much older than the other kids that he's looking after or he hangs out with. He reads them stories, Peter Pan, he brings them on adventures. And Peter Pan's a very interesting story because that's about a character that never ages that leads a group of children. And now you have Charles Lee Ray leading this group of children, trying to influence them to be maybe serial killers. And then he's now a killer doll, Chucky, who never ages, so that's pretty interesting as well. And there's a janitor who gives Charles Lee Ray some abuse because he messed up his clean floor. Charles Lee Ray, of course, being a serial killer, kills him, leaves him in the woods for him and the kids to find while they're on some sort of an adventure. But a few of the kids run off, but one kid stays. And it's like how Charles Lee Ray, as a kid, when he killed his mother, he was trying to impress the serial killer. And now, in modern day, as Chucky the doll, he's trying to influence Jake to be a serial killer and kill Lexi. So it's very interesting how Charles Lee Ray wants to kind of have a cult, which was the last movie title, Cult of Chucky, that will probably come back up at some point in this series. But yeah, this janitor is dead. He's been killed by Charles Lee Ray. This one kid, I think his name was Andy, he stays and pokes the dead body with a stick. So it looks like that Charles Lee Ray has definitely had an influence on him. And maybe this is a character that will pop up again. Maybe, I don't know, but I love the flashback with Charles Lee Ray. But Lexi and Jake finally decide to work together because they can't stop Chucky alone, and nobody else will believe them because it's very crazy that a doll will come to life and kill people. So they go to the house that was burnt down by Chucky to see if Chucky is still there. There's some sweet moments between the two. Lexi sees him taking some medication. Is it for anxiety or depression? He says both. So right now the series is trying to redeem Lexi, that we like her. I don't like her. I wanted her to die a few episodes ago, but now she's kind of coming through a bit. But the two characters did have kind of a fight, about why would you send a killer doll to kill me, Jake? Why would you do something like that? That's terrible. And Jake's like, I didn't want everyone dead. I just wanted you dead because you were mean to me, because you were a bully, because of what you did. That's why I wanted you dead. And, both of them say that they're not happy. As this fight is going on, Lexi falls off the balcony. Jake's able to catch her before she falls fully. And Chucky emerges with half of his face burnt off from the fire. But this is pretty interesting because back at the hospital, where most of this episode is based, except for this scene, we get to see Junior take some medication. He has to be knocked out because they want to see how much smoke he inhaled. And he sees Chucky in the distance. So could we have multiple Chucky dolls running around the place like Cult of Chucky? I very much think so. So Jake is holding on to Lexi and Chucky is trying to persuade him to just let go. Let her go. Let her fall. The world's going to be better off without her. So Chucky hates Lexi. He really, really does. And here was a very funny line from Chucky. Just one less little vicious Karen on training wheels. Brilliant. Absolutely love that. And then you have Chucky at the bottom trying to swipe at Lexi's feet because Jake is pulling her up. He says, no, I'm not a killer. I'm not doing it. And he pulls Lexi up to save her. And Chucky is not impressed. But then somebody is at the door and it's this detective. And then, of course, Chucky plays dead or plays like a doll. And the detective picks him up because Lexi's parents asked the detective to go to the house to pick up the doll for Caroline when she wakes up. The detective says to Jake and Lexi, you shouldn't be here. I have to bring you back to the hospital. And they're like, please leave the doll down. You don't need it. Do not bring the doll back to the hospital. But then Devon is doing some research about the urban legend in Hackensack about Chucky and Charles Lee Ray. Some cool Easter eggs. We got some Easter eggs towards Tiffany, who will return, to Nika, who will return, and some Google searches for good guy dolls. The history, what your doll says about you, famous collector dolls, stuff like that. That was a pretty fun scene right there. But Nika and Tiffany were mentioned in that, so they will definitely be coming back. And I think they're set to come back for next week's episode, which I'm very excited to see what those two characters have been up to since Cult of Chucky. We have Jake and Lexi back at the hospital, and Detective Evans wants to talk to Jake privately about the murders, about what exactly is going on, because she's very suspicious of Jake Wheeler, but also suspicious of Chucky the doll. And Jake said, it wasn't me. It's not me. And she's like, then who did it? If it's not you, Jake, who is doing this? Please tell me. But then an alarm sounds coming from Caroline's room, which I'll get to in a second. But the detective that picked up Chucky at the house has brought him back to Caroline's room. And he looks absolutely scary and menacing here. Look at his face, just completely burnt off. Terrifying, it really is. But Chucky does not like this detective whatsoever. And he throws a scalpel at the detective's back. And it goes through, and the detective falls on the ground, and the knife goes deeper into his spine, making him paralyzed. Chucky gets on the ground, and he's talking to this detective, and it was very funny as well, but also very brutal, because Chucky just stabs this guy to death with all of these needles right in the chest and the stomach. Pretty brutal stuff while everybody is in this hospital. I must say that the writing for this season has absolutely been brilliant for all of the characters and just the story overall. And especially Chucky's one-liners. They have been hilarious. From the minute I first saw you, Chucky says to the guy while he's stabbing him on the ground, I couldn't stand your effing face. Typical Chucky, just absolutely amazing. And then, of course, Chucky has his burnt face, and he's telling this guy, I just don't like your face. And then Chucky looks at his reflection and is like, maybe I'm just projecting. That stuff is just hilarious from Chucky. It really, really is. That's what I'm talking about, the writing this season, because in Seed of Chucky, he was too much of a comedic relief, But here, he has the comedy, but he also has the menacing serial killer vibes when he does stuff. But then you have Devon, Lexi, and Jake looking at Chucky, and Chucky just turns and gives him the middle finger. Typical Chucky, absolutely insane. And everyone rushes into Caroline's room because Chucky actually pulled the plug on her medical equipment that was keeping her breathing properly. And then they discover the dead detective on the ground. So everyone's like, what the hell is going on? And you just have Jake, Devin, and Lexi looking at Chucky, and he doesn't give a F. He just turns and looks at them and simply gives them the middle finger. And Chucky, I think, has done that in all of his movies, or most of them, has used that expression towards people. But here it was brilliant. It was an insane ending to this episode. A great ending. And I can't wait for next week's episode already. I think that Tiffany and I think that Nika will return, who has appeared in the last two Chucky movies. But also, Junior got to see another Chucky, so there must be multiple Chucky dolls running around the place. Charles Lee Ray's soul is also in Nika, because at the end of the last movie, he discovered a new spell where he could put his soul and divide it into multiple good guy dolls, and maybe even multiple people. So that's pretty awesome. But guys, this season, 4 episodes in, 6 episodes to go. The writing, the directing, everything has been perfect, I would say. I've hugely enjoyed this series, and I'm sure you are as well. But let me know in the comment section below. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And come follow me on all my social media accounts at Movies That Matter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Guys, I appreciate you watching this video. I really do. And I'll see you in the next one. You know you're doing something wrong if your doll starts giving you the middle finger. See you then, guys.